Today, we uncover what UK supermarket workers actually buy and the 7 products they quietly avoid when the shelves start telling a different story. Because most shoppers walk into a supermarket and see fresh displays, meal deals, trusted brands, yellow stickers, and health claims. But the workers see what happens behind the calm packaging. They see what gets handled all day, what sits too long, what gets reduced because the clock is nearly up, and what only looks fresh because the display is doing the work. And that is the truth most customers never stop to question. A supermarket is designed to make trust feel automatic. But once you understand stock rotation, chilled cabinets, date labels, bakery displays, and packaging tricks, the shop starts looking very different. So first we are going through the products supermarket workers buy, then we are exposing the ones they quietly think twice about. But before we get into it, hit that hype button and subscribe, because the more people learn these quiet supermarket tricks, the harder it becomes to sell convenience as quality. Let's dive in. Number 5, bird's eye garden peas. The freezer aisle does not get much respect. Most people walk past it thinking fresh is automatically better, as if anything frozen must be a backup plan for people who forgot to shop properly. That is not always how the workers see it. They watch fresh vegetables get touched, squeezed, left in the wrong aisle, bruised by careless hands, and then taken home to die slowly in the salad drawer. That is why bird's eye garden peas make sense. They are not trying to be fashionable. They are just peas, frozen quickly, easy to store, easy to cook, and useful when the fridge is empty. A bag like this does not ask you to plan your whole week perfectly. It sits there until you need it, and that alone puts it ahead of a lot of fresh produce that looks better in the shop than it does 2 days later. The important thing here is not that frozen peas are magical. The point is that they avoid a lot of the supermarket theatre customers' mistake for freshness. Nobody has been picking through them with their hands. Nobody has left them beside the crisps and walked away. They are simple, practical, and hard to waste. That is why workers often understand frozen vegetables better than normal shoppers. Sometimes the best product is not the one that looks most wholesome in the trolley. Sometimes it is the one that does not collapse when real life gets in the way. And once you start seeing value like that, the next aisle looks even more suspicious because it takes one of the cheapest foods in the shop and turns it into a performance. Number 4, Quaker traditional rolled oats. The breakfast aisle is where supermarkets are very good at making simple food look more complicated than it needs to be. You get colourful boxes, little sachets, protein claims, chocolate versions, granola clusters, and bars that pretend breakfast needs a marketing department. But the plainest option is often the one that makes the most sense. Quaker traditional rolled oats are a good example because the idea is not complicated. It is oats. That is the appeal. They are cheap compared with most branded breakfast products. They last in the cupboard, they fill you up, and they do not need a long story to justify themselves. Supermarket workers know how often basic ingredients get sweetened, portioned, flavoured, boxed, and sold back for more money. That is the trick with breakfast food. A lot of it starts with something cheap, then gets dressed up until the customer forgets what they were really paying for. Oats become instant pots, cereal bars, protein granola, and little convenience packs with a price that no longer feels connected to the original ingredient. The branding does the heavy lifting. Plain oats are not exciting, and that is almost the point. You can add fruit, nuts, cinnamon, yogurt, honey, or nothing at all. You control what goes in instead of letting the box decide for you. When a basic food still does its job without shouting, that should tell you something. And the same idea gets even clearer when you move from boxes to tins, where some of the smartest buys are the ones people walk past without thinking. Number 3. Aldi Bramwell's baked beans in a rich tomato sauce. Some products survive on habit. People reach for the famous brand because their parents bought it, because the advert stuck, or because the label feels familiar. That doesn't mean the famous one is always bad. It just means the customer sometimes pays extra before asking the basic question: is this actually better? Or does it just feel safer because I have seen the name for years? That is why Aldi Bramwell's baked beans in a rich tomato sauce are useful. They are not glamorous. They are a cheap tin of beans, and that is exactly why they expose the brand name game. Workers know some products do not need a celebrity logo to be good enough. If a cheaper tin tastes good, fills the same role, and costs far less, the famous brand has to earn the gap. This is where supermarket workers often shop more calmly than customers. They are not as impressed by shelf position or nostalgia. They see people pay more because the label feels comforting, then see cheaper own-label products doing the same job. Those small differences quietly add pounds to the trolley. The deeper point is not just baked beans, it is trust. A lot of shoppers treat brand names like proof, but a worker is more likely to treat them like a claim that still needs checking. If the cheaper product is good enough, the premium label becomes a tax on memory. That is useful, even if it is not glamorous. And usefulness is exactly what separates the next product from the colourful fridge products around it, all trying to sound healthier than they are. Number 2. Phage Total Greek Yogurt. The chilled aisle can be one of the most misleading places in the supermarket. Everything looks clean and controlled. You get words like protein, light, active, balanced, smooth, fruit, gut, and natural, scattered across the shelves like little promises. But when workers spend enough time around those cabinets, they start noticing how often the plain product is doing less shouting and more work. Phage Total Greek Yogurt makes sense because it is simple. The plain versions are not trying to be dessert, breakfast, snack, pudding, and health product all at the same time. They are plain yogurt. That means you can decide what happens next. Add berries, oats, nuts, honey, or use it with savoury food. You are not locked into someone else's sweetness, flavouring, portion size, or health branding. The reason this matters is that the yogurt aisle is full of products that look sensible until you turn them around. Some are basically pudding with better language. Some are tiny pots sold like a health ritual. Some are packed with flavourings, sweeteners, thickeners, or chocolate layers, while the front of the pack keeps the mood responsible. A worker does not need the tub to look exciting. In fact, exciting is often where the price goes up and the ingredient list gets longer. The plain tub gives you control, and control is underrated in a supermarket designed to make decisions for you. The best buys are often simple products that still let you cook, mix, or decide for yourself. And the strongest example of that may be sitting in a tin. Most people only think about when pasta is involved. Number 1. Mutti polpa, finely chopped tomatoes. A smart trolley is not always full of finished meals. Sometimes it is full of products that still allow you to make something. That matters. Finished food asks you to trust the supermarket's version of dinner. Ingredients give you more control, and workers understand that because they see how much money gets made from turning basic foods into convenience. Mutti polpa, finely chopped tomatoes, earn their place because they are useful. They can become pasta sauce, curry base, soup, stew, chili, shakshuka, or a quick sauce when there is not much else in the cupboard. They are not pretending to be a complete meal. They are not asking for trust through a long list of claims. They are mostly tomatoes, and that makes them easy to understand. That is why this is a strong worker-style buy. The supermarket wants customers to drift toward ready sauces, meal kits, microwave meals, and jars with pictures of perfect dinners on the front. Some of those are fine, but you are often paying for the shop to do the thinking. A tin of good tomatoes does not do that. It gives you a base. It leaves the rest to you. So now we leave the products that make sense and move into the ones that only look like they do. This is where freshness can be staged, Bargains can make people careless, and health claims can turn processed food into something that feels responsible. Number 7. Tesco Winter Fruit Salad. 400 grams. Fruit should be one of the simplest things in the shop. Pick it up, check it with your eyes, feel if it is ready, take it home and eat it. That simplicity is part of the appeal. But once fruit is peeled, sliced, mixed, sealed in plastic, chilled, transported, displayed and left waiting, it becomes something else. Still fruit, yes, but not the same kind of food as an apple or orange sitting whole in your hand. That is why Tesco Winter Fruit Salad is a product workers may think twice about. The issue is not that fruit is bad. The issue is that convenience starts the clock. Whole fruit has skin, peel, rind, or some natural barrier. Cut fruit has lost that. Now you are trusting the preparation, packaging, storage, date, temperature, and handling before it ever reaches your trolley. For a normal shopper, it looks like an easy, healthy choice, and sometimes that is exactly what it is. But workers are more likely to notice the details customers rush past. Is there liquid pooling at the bottom? Do the pieces look tired? Is the pack close to its use-by date? Has it been picked up, carried around, and put back? The problem is not the fruit, it is the idea that convenience is free. It never is. You pay more money and you also give up some control. An apple still feels like food, a plastic pot of fruit cubes already feels like a product. And if that sounds a little too cautious, the next item shows why the health halo can make people even less careful with short-life food. Number 6. Floret Classic Crispy Salad. The healthy-looking product is often the one people question least. That is the strange thing about supermarket shopping. If something looks green, light and clean, customers relax. They assume the product has already passed the common sense test because it sits in the fresh section and has the right packaging. Workers are less romantic about it. They know ready-to-eat chilled food depends on a lot of things going right. Floret Classic. Crispy salad is not something to panic over. Plenty of people buy bagged salad and have no problem. The real point is that bagged salad asks for trust. The leaves have been harvested, washed, mixed, packed, chilled, distributed, stacked, and displayed. By the time you pick up the bag, you are only seeing the final step. You are trusting the whole chain behind it. That is why workers are more likely to check it properly. They look for wet leaves, browning edges, too much condensation, a bag that feels puffed, or anything sitting too close to the date. A normal shopper may only see an easy side salad. A worker sees a product with a short clock. And once a product is ready to eat, the clock matters more because there may be no cooking step at home. This is not about making salad sound scary. It is about not letting the word healthy switch your brain off. A bag of leaves can be useful, but it is still a handled, chilled, short-life product. If it looks tired, that is not a bargain. That is the shelf telling you something. And the same logic shows up in one of Britain's most normal lunch habits, where people stop thinking because the deal feels too familiar. Number 5. Tesco meal deal chicken, egg, tuna or mayonnaise-based sandwiches. Late in the day. There are some supermarket products people barely see anymore because they are too normal. They grab them between work, college, errands, train journeys or long shifts. The routine becomes automatic. Sandwich, snack, drink, scan, leave. That is why meal deals are powerful. They do not feel like a product decision. They feel like lunch taking care of itself. That is where Tesco meal deal sandwiches can look different to workers, especially the chicken, egg, tuna or mayonnaise-based ones, sitting there late in the day. The issue is not that every sandwich is bad. The issue is that a chilled sandwich is not a cupboard staple. It is soft bread, chilled filling, sometimes meat, sometimes egg, sometimes fish, often mayonnaise, often salad. And it all depends on temperature control and date discipline. Workers know the use. By date is not just decorative. They know short-life chilled food has a timer on it, even when the packaging looks calm. And late in the day, the lonely sandwich left behind can feel different from the one bought early when the shelf was full and fresh stock had just gone out. That doesn't mean it is unsafe, but it does mean the habit deserves more attention than most people give it. The meal deal works because it removes friction. You do not have to think about ingredients, timing, freshness, or whether the item has been picked up and put back. You just grab it. That is convenient, but convenience is also how people stop checking. And when supermarkets want people to ignore a clock, one little sticker can make even cautious shoppers suddenly brave. Number 4. Yellow sticker, meat and fish. That looks tired. Reduced food can be brilliant. Nobody sensible should pretend otherwise. Plenty of workers buy yellow sticker items, and in a country where prices keep squeezing households, reduced food can make a real difference. The problem is not the sticker itself, the problem is what the sticker does to people. It makes them negotiate with warning signs they would have respected at full price. That is why tired-looking yellow sticker meat and fish deserve a place on this list. The discount is not magic. It usually means the clock is nearly up and the supermarket wants the product gone before it becomes waste. Sometimes that is a perfectly good bargain. Sometimes it is dinner if you are cooking it straight away. But workers are more likely to check the pack with colder eyes. Is the seal damaged? Is there too much liquid? Does the fish smell stronger than it should? Is the meat grey, leaking, or sitting in a swollen pack? Customers can get strange around reductions. They will question a full-price pack carefully, then forgive the reduced one because saving money feels like winning. The sticker shifts attention from quality to bargain. A worker does not fear reduced food. A worker fears reduced food that makes customers ignore what their eyes are already telling them. Buy the bargain when it still looks right, smells right, is sealed properly, and fits your plan. But if the product looks tired before you even get it home, the discount may not be a win. And not every freshness illusion comes with a yellow label. Some come with warm lights, open trays, and the smell of pastry. Number 3. Sainsbury's All Butter Croissants. 4-pack. The bakery section knows exactly how to make people lower their guard. It smells better than the packaged bread aisle. It looks warmer, fresher, and more human. The lighting helps, the baskets help, the open display helps. Even the paper bags make the whole thing feel closer to a real bakery than a supermarket shelf. That feeling is powerful, and supermarkets know it. That is why Sainsbury's All Butter Croissants 4-pack can work as an example, especially later in the day. The issue is not that croissants are automatically bad. The issue is the assumption customers make when something sits in a bakery display. They see it and think fresh, handmade, recently baked, better than packaged. But workers know display and freshness are not the same thing. A pastry can sit under lights, dry at the edges, get moved around and still look good enough to sell. Freshly displayed matters more than freshly made. Customers see golden pastry and imagine morning bakery energy, even if the item has been waiting there longer than they realise. Workers are more likely to notice the small things: the dry corner, the collapsed layers, the tray that has been picked over all day, the product that still looks pretty but no longer feels worth the price. Not every open bakery item is bad, but the display sells a feeling, and that feeling can outrun the food. And once you understand how presentation can hide staleness, you start looking harder at products where the covering is not a display at all. It is source. Number 2. Tesco Fire Pit. Barbecue chicken thighs 800 grams. There is something very convenient about meat that has already been flavoured for you. It looks like dinner is halfway done. You do not have to think about seasoning, marinade, spice, or planning. Just open the pack, cook it, and pretend the hard part has already been handled. That is why products like this sell so well. They remove effort, and effort is exactly what tired shoppers are trying to avoid. Tesco Fire Pit Barbecue. Chicken thighs are a strong example because the issue is not chicken thighs. The issue is what happens when the meat arrives covered in seasoning, sugar, starch, salt, flavorings, and barbecue-style coating before you ever get to judge it plainly. Plain meat gives you more information. You can see the color, the surface, the liquid in the tray, the texture, and whether anything feels off. Once it is covered in marinade, some of those signals become harder to read. This does not mean the supermarket is hiding bad meat. That would be too easy to say and too hard to prove. The better point is visibility. When a product is already coated, the customer has less to inspect. The sauce does some of the talking. It adds color, gloss, smell, and expectation. Workers are often more careful with that kind of product because decoration changes how people see food. A plain pack has nowhere to hide. A marinated pack comes wearing a coat. Sometimes it is perfectly fine. But if you are judging freshness, value, and quality, the covered version gives you less to work with. And the final product takes that same trick further because it covers a processed snack with discipline. Number 1. Grenade Carb Killer High Protein Bars. The most interesting supermarket trick now is not making junk food look fun. That trick is old. Bright colors, big flavors, sweet coatings, and impulse shelves have been around forever. The newer trick is making processed snacks look responsible. The customer does not want to feel careless anymore, so the product learns the language of self-control. That is why Grenade Carb Killer High Protein Bars are the right final example. They are not here because protein is bad. Protein is not the issue. The issue is how one big number on the front of a pack can change the way people read the whole product. High protein, low sugar, carb killer. Suddenly, a chocolate-coated bar starts to feel like a disciplined decision instead of a sweet snack with better gym language. Workers see this constantly. Products move from the treat aisle to the health space without becoming as simple as the marketing makes them feel. Long ingredient lists, sweeteners, flavorings, processed chocolate coatings, protein blends, and texture agents can sit behind a front label that feels cleaner than the product really is. That does not mean nobody should ever buy one. It means the customer should know what they are buying. So that is the real difference between shopping like a customer and shopping like someone who has watched the shelves closely. The best buys are not always exciting, and the worst ones are not always obvious. Sometimes the smart move is choosing the plain product that gives you control, and sometimes it is walking past the convenient one that asks for too much trust. If you have ever worked in a supermarket, tell us what products you buy and what you avoid. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and remember, these shelves have more tricks than most shoppers realize.